nice to be here with you for our 5 o'clock Friday night yin practice. So go ahead and clear a little space. Make sure you've got pillows or blocks or books handy so you can support yourself with props as we move. And if you'd like some music, go ahead and put on any playlist that you like. You can hop on over to Spotify and search for the user KX Yoga, all one word, to find our playlists there, including some yin practice playlists. And as we begin, you can start in whatever pose you like. I might recommend child's pose or laying on your back with the soles of the feet together, knees open wide, like a reclined butterfly position. But you take whatever position feels good for you to begin. And as you settle into whatever shape you've chosen, give yourself a little bit of time just to sink in, settle, and find yourself like physically here, but also mentally, emotionally, energetically, like you're planting yourself in this moment. And keep adding to that feeling of presence by taking a nice long, deep breath in, opening the mouth to release the exhale breath. Do one more like that, a big, full inhale breath. And a sigh to release. Now let yourself settle, softening across the face, the hands, the arms. Soften across the chest and collarbones. Soften the edges of the neck, the edges of the jaw. Soften across the forehead and the eyelids. Inviting in a space to start to sink into the support of the earth beneath you. You know, most of our day we spend upright in some description or another, supporting ourselves with our musculature. But here, give yourself permission to set all of the activation aside as you sink into the support of softness, releasing down into the earth. So to imagine that layer by layer you could soften. First, just the skin starts to feel a little bit more relaxed as the muscles underneath start to soften. And then imagine that you could feel the pull of gravity drawing the bones down deeper towards the earth. Soften across the belly. Imagine the internal space of the body relaxing as the external space starts to feel heavy and relaxed. This yin practice is a beautiful opportunity to start to soften the external layers and tune into what's happening within. So spend your first few moments here just kind of checking in. Like, you know, you go to the doctor for a checkup, maybe not so much anymore, but you used to. And they check all sorts of different things, see what's happening internally and externally with your body. Or if you go to your psych and you do a little check-in, what's going on in your mind. Or the same way you would take your car to a mechanic and they, you know, lift up the bonnet, the hood, and check what's going on in the engine, and then see what's happening in the car's exterior and interior. Let this be your opportunity to like tune into your personal mechanic or visit your, you know, soul doctor. Sounds a bit cheesy, but like, whenever do we take the time to really check in and see how we're doing? When we're rushing and we're busy and we're doing things for other people and for ourselves, there's not a lot of time spent tuning in and pausing. But take this moment to just be here, just as you are, to check in. Notice the way the breath is moving. Notice the way the body is feeling. Notice the state of the mind. Just start by observing. Watch your breath. Observe your body. And tune into what's happening in your heart and your mind here in this moment. Take just 2 or 3 more breaths in this first pose that you've chosen. Tuning in deeply. Take 1 more slow, unified inhale. And a big releasing exhale breath. And then start to take some deeper breaths and invite in a little bit of movement. From wherever you are, just start to move around. If you're in child's pose, you might press to hands and knees. If you're on your back, you might squeeze your knees to your chest. And just start to make a little movement, a little swivel around. Take a little time to move. If you're on your back, you might roll over to hands and knees eventually. We'll take time to just do a little bit of cat-cow or something similar. So hands and knees position, just start to move a little in a way that feels interesting for you to tune in to how the body's feeling. So you might move the shoulders around. You might move the hips around side to side or big circles. You might move the ribs around. Start to explore movement and breath. Take a little time to stretch, to open, but most importantly, to tune in. And then as you're ready, just pause for a moment and have a look at the screen. I'll show you 2 different options for our next pose. It's Sphinx or Hero or saddle pose, if you know it and you want to go straight for it. Basically, first option, especially if you have any sensitivity in your knees, is to roll onto or lay onto your belly with the legs extended back behind you. Let the hips land, and then you place your elbows underneath your shoulders. Now I put these pillows here because I think it's nice to support the head and neck, but you probably go maybe forward, maybe chin down, mouth down on whatever kind of pillows you've got. And it's a really nice way to start to open up the lower back. You can even bend 1 or both knees if you need a little bit more stretch across the front of the thighs there. And elbows under shoulders can be a really nice way to let the bone stabilize, and so the muscles don't have to do so much work. If you're super open in your lower back, you don't have any knee sensitivity, you can also take this one, kind of same thing, upside down, called Hero or Saddle. Be really thoughtful and attentive to the way it feels on your ankles and your knees and your lower back, and take Sphinx pose variation if that one seems to suit you better. But if you did want to try Hero or Saddle, you sit your butt between your heels, and you could even sit up on a block or a book or a pillow, and then you recline back any amount, noticing how it feels in the lower back, like the tailbone tucks under a little so you get length in the lower back, and the front of the thighs start to open, front of the hips start to open. You can place your arms anywhere that feels good for you. So choose either Sphinx or Saddle as a place for you to open across the front of your hips. And then let yourself pause there and tune in. You know, a lot of times I think that as practitioners of yoga, we aim to look for kind of answers or guidance or some sort of philosophies that'll be useful, or like maybe yoga's got the answers that we're looking for to find less suffering, more peace. But what I've learned in my years of practice is that it's not yoga that has the answers. It's not some guru or special teacher that's been teaching for so long they've finally got the right answers for us. Instead, what I've learned is that the yoga practice invites you to tune in, and in that space where you go really deep into feeling, into observing, you start to recognize that maybe you've got some good advice to give yourself. Because you've lived in your body your entire life. You've heard every thought that's ever come into your mind. The person who knows what's best for you is probably you. So take a little time as we pause in this open for across the front of the hips shape. Maybe you feel like you're opening the heart a little bit here too. And start to go deep into that feeling of tuning in. Because the more intimately familiar you become with your body, your mind, your breath, your experience, the more that you can trust that you know best. And when you're looking for answers, trying to figure something out, trying to feel your best, then you can use that inner guidance, deep wisdom, to start to decide for yourself what's right for you. Let this be a practice of tuning in to empower yourself with an understanding of how you're feeling in your body and your heart and in your mind. So give yourself that time to start to just sink into feeling. To step back and observe. To watch the breath, the body, the heart, the mind, in an effort to tune in and get to know yourself better. Stay and soften into it. I'll leave you in a bit of silence here. But can you tune in deeper? Take another breath in. Slow exhale to empty. Now, if you're on your back, be really thoughtful as you come up that you don't tweak your knees or your lower back. Try to come up symmetrically. If you're on your front and you bent your knees, go ahead and release the feet down. And take any movement that feels good for you. You could just lay on your belly or on your back and roll around a little. Anything that feels good in your body to stretch out whatever was compressed. And ease. And then pause. You can lay on your back, on your front, in child's pose, or in a seat. Find somewhere you can just pause and be and breathe. Pause in stillness and in relative silence. To just settle into that feeling like you're tuning in deeper and deeper, breath by breath. As you're ready, we're going to make our way down onto our belly. So if you're already there, cool. If you're in child's pose, go ahead and slink your way out flat. And if you're on your back, just roll over. And take our shoulder stretch here. So if you know it, go for it. Doesn't matter which side you do first. We'll do both. If you haven't done it before, it gets a little confusing. So you might want to have a little look at the screen. So imagine that this is the ground. You guys are still laying flat, but I'm just upright so you can see. Extend your right arm up to the right, directly in line with the right shoulder. Slide the elbow up so it's in line with the shoulder. You can bend or straighten through the arm, doesn't matter, but keep the elbow up in line with the top of the shoulder. Right cheek goes down. Press your right or left hand under the left shoulder to roll the left hip and shoulder up. So you're laying on your right hip and shoulder with your left hip and shoulder up, stacked on top. You can bend both knees, squeeze them into your chest. You can step the left foot behind the right, and you can even take the left hand to the lower back if it helps peel open through the chest. And then give yourself some time to adjust. If you need to move the arm a little bit more in a different position, feel free. If you need to move the legs into a different positioning so it feels better for your lower back, feel free. You're always welcome to modify any pose. And while I can offer different variations, especially in times like these where I'm not there in the room with you, empower yourself to trust that you know best. Here we're trying to stretch across the front of the right side of the chest. So if you're feeling that, that's it. And if you're not feeling that, you might rearrange a little, find something that works for you. Take some slow, deep breaths. You know, the yin practice, we hold poses for a few minutes at a time. We relax the muscles in the target area so that it's not just the muscle that's stretching, it's deeper. A deeper connection, a deeper opening, tuning in deeper and deeper to layers of yourself. So here, relax your right chest, right shoulder, right cheek. Slow down your breath to tune in and soften. And trust that as you spend a few minutes in this shape, at some point, the connective tissue that wraps its way around all the muscles and joints in your body starts to get this lovely sensation of stretch or really stress. Pattern, rehydrate the connective tissue through the whole body. It's incredibly beneficial physically for mobility, for the freedom of movement. But also keep remembering that it's an invitation to go deeper and tune in to yourself as you are here and now. Can you tune into feeling? Tune into the breath. And tune into what's happening in your mind and in your heart. Is there repetitive thoughts or feelings arising? Can you watch just like you're tuning in, checking in? No need to judge or correct. Just observe for 2 or 3 more really long, slow breaths. Can you breathe in super slow one more time? And take a long exhale to empty it out. How gently can you unwind the shape? Coming back down onto your chest. Ooh, get a little movement happening into your right arm. Oh, good. Especially if you've been crouched over at a desk or in front of your computer or on your phone. That should feel really something sensational. As you're ready, let's set up for the other side before we rebound. Same thing, other side. This time it's the left arm that extends directly out in line with the left shoulder. Keep your left elbow up in line. You choose bend or straighten through the elbow. Left cheek on the ground. Right hand presses to roll the right hip and shoulder open. One of the most common things I see is that people kind of forget what's happening with their back arm and they bring it down by your side. It doesn't really give you an opportunity to stretch, but extending the arm back behind you and then bending through the elbow potentially gives you a deeper pull across the front of the chest that turns into that stress into the connective tissue. You want stress in your connective tissue. So as you're ready, set it up. Your choice, you can place the right hand behind the lower back or keep it pressing, knees stacked, or step it behind. Just find what works for you from that wisest part of you that you tune in, and then you decide from that space. Keep tuning in to how your body's feeling. From that space of feeling and knowing, if you need to move at all to change the position, feel free. Tune into the breath, the state of mind. Like you just want to get to know how you are in this moment. You know, sometimes I feel like as humans, especially when we're really busy, we feel disconnected from what's going on within. Like you kind of push down your feelings or push down your stress because you've got stuff to do, things that need attending to. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm certain that every single human is capable, when we decide to tune in, of noticing what's going on in the deepest way. You know, even your breath is a good indication of how you're feeling. You know, your breath, when it's in the automated state, responds to emotions. So when you get stressed or anxious, your breath speeds up to give you, a higher breath rate. When you're super relaxed or even asleep, it's long, slow breaths. Something takes your breath away, surprises you. All these different emotions are intertwined into the breath. And when you're feeling tight in your shoulders or, wound up somewhere, tight in your belly, there's all these physical sensations that are indicators of how we're doing. All we need to do is decide to tune in. Notice your breath. Notice your body. Give yourself that time to tune in. Don't check out. Check in deeper here. And spend just about a minute noticing breath, body, and mind. Take one more really slow breath in. Stay for the whole long exhale breath. And then gently, unwind. Do anything that feels good. Move, stretch. Get some blood flow back to your arm. And then if you want to move around a little, you're more than welcome. And then find a place to rest before we head into our next shape. Soften the face, the shoulders, soften the whole body, and sink into a moment of stillness. Doesn't matter which position you choose, but just find somewhere that's really restful, relaxed, and at ease. Can you watch now, even in these moments between the poses? Give yourself a moment to notice the state of the breath. Check in with how you're feeling in your body. And maybe even open your awareness to notice the state of your mind. Just checking in, no judgment, just space to notice. One more really lovely, spacious inhale. Let the whole exhale empty. And make your way now to a hands and knees tabletop position. If you've got a pillow or two handy, it might be really nice for this next shape called Anahatasana, named after the heart chakra, or puppy pose if you prefer. So in this shape, you might put, as you come to hips right over knees, you want to keep that alignment, your butt right above your knees the whole time. You might put a pillow just underneath your belly, like in front of your thighs, and then a second pillow that you can lay forward onto. So you've got lots of support as you come forward and then extend the arms. Either chin untucks if you've got so much space, or generally forehead down. And give yourself a chance to open up through the arms. Now, for a lot of us with tight shoulders like me, you might take your hands a little wider, and it's this feeling like you let your shoulder roll back and down into the socket, not holding so much tension through the arms as you allow yourself to pour forward into the shape. So find a little space to sink in. If you're super deep, you could put blocks, books, or pillows under your elbows to elevate the arms a little bit and give more room for the chest to sink in. This pose, Anahatasana, is named after the heart chakra. And the heart chakra, the meaning in Sanskrit, Anahata, means unstruck. So you can imagine your heartbeat. It's beating. It's like for any kind of vibration, two things hit together. So they strike together to make a noise. But the heart chakra is named unstruck because it's not an external force that creates the heartbeat, but an internal one. It's not like you're being hit by something to create that beat. The beat is internal. And for me, the first time I heard that, I realized that a lot of times I look for answers outside. Like I ask my friends for advice, or I speak to my family, or I look to yoga philosophy to figure out what I need. But in reality, that deepest layer of yourself that's unstruck, unaffected by all those external forces, knows what's best for you. So right now, imagine whatever's going on in your life, there's some difficulty, something that's stressing you out, something that's annoying you. And you could go ask a million people for advice. But, sometimes their advice isn't that good because they don't know exactly how you're feeling. They don't know exactly what you're thinking. They don't know all the other times you've ever had some sort of emotional response or experience that's influencing the way that you're feeling. But you do. So as you stay for our last few breaths in Anahatasana, unstruck through the heart, see if you can tune in deeply to that space of wisdom where you know that you're the one that has the best answers for you. So this practice isn't just about unwinding the physical body, but about peeling back the layers that prevent you from feeling that true deep wisdom within you. Sink into that space. And find 3 more slow, deep breaths, tuning in deeply there. One more breath in. Long exhale, really soften. Suck the belly in a little for support out of the shape. Get rid of any props that you've got. Move around a little. And then we'll find our way into child's pose as our rebound and as a hold. So if you need to move a little first, feel free. And if you're coming into child's pose, you might use a pillow underneath your torso or underneath your face, just to chill out there for a few breaths, a few minutes, in fact. And if your arms are really feeling it, put a pillow underneath your face and take your hands back down by your sides so that the front of the shoulders has a chance to open. Finding your child's pose and softening there for a few breaths. Can you keep tuning in? Oftentimes the mind wants to tune out and process or think about what might happen later. But can you allow yourself here not to tune out and check out, but to tune in and check in? Getting to know yourself better, breath by breath, moment by moment. As you stay for just a few more breaths, really tune into the sensation of the breath. Where does it move physically? How does it feel energetically? And can you tune into that deep interweaving feeling of breath and body and emotion, mind? Really suss out how you're going in this moment. Take one more breath. Let it go. As you press to your hands and knees, tabletop position after child's pose, you might move around a little if that feels good. A bit of cat-cow, a little stretch out. And then you'll need either a two-pillow kind of situation, or a pillow and a book or a block, or just a really nice big bed pillow. We're coming to our supported fish pose. So in supported fish, you'll need one prop that's going to catch the back of the head, so that goes down the back of the mat, at the top there. And then a pillow or two to support the upper back and the back of the ribs. You sit down on your mat, scooch back, and lay down onto your pillows, opening up the chest and then supporting the head. If you've got a couple of books, like a little stack, that might be nice. I generally like to have my head a little bit higher than my heart. It just feels better for me. It might feel good for you too. Or if you want to open more through the throat, be careful to extend, really lengthen the back of the neck. Don't crunch it down. And then let the head drop back a little bit more if that feels good for you. If you're super tight to the chest, feeling a little bit tender there, you can place your hands on your torso. You can also extend the arms out to the sides or up overhead. Any formation really that feels appropriate for you in this supported fish, or in these home practices, what I like to call the pillow fish. Now you can choose what to do with your legs. Maybe soles of the feet go wide, knees knocked together, a little space through the lower back. Maybe soles of the feet together, knees open wide, and opening through the inner thighs. Wherever you land there with your breath. And the thing about this ability to tune in is it's a skill just like anything else. Like if you never stopped to wonder how you're feeling, you would never know. But every time that you pause and tune in and check in is a moment that you get to know yourself better. And you build this skill of being able to notice how you're feeling in your body, in your heart, and in your mind. So now we've spent already more than half of this class together, tuning in. Watching the heart, watching the breath, watching the mind, feeling the body. So is it getting easier now to tune in? Can you maybe go a little bit deeper? Not just the surface layer of thoughts, but those deeper ones that are floating around in the back of your mind. Not just those momentary emotions that rise and fall, whether you like the pose or not, etc. But those deeper emotions, deeper feelings lurking in the back of your heart. One of my favorite quotes that I come back to all the time, that just seems to represent this practice so well, is a poem by Yung Pueblo, where he says, "The healer that you've been looking for." And I assume he means that like that antidote to the suffering of life, the understanding, the healing that comes from all of the difficulty that we go through, the healer that you've been looking for is your own courage to know and love yourself completely. So whatever we're looking for the answers to, whatever we want to heal from, the answers come in our own courage to look deeply, to know ourselves completely and love ourselves completely. So spend these moments in your practice getting to know yourself completely. Every feeling, every thought, every sensation, every breath. And for the more advanced practice, to be accepting of everything that you find. Take some time now just to be here with yourself. Simple but profound, just stay and watch. And stay for just 2 or 3 more really long, slow breaths. And then when you're ready, bring your hands just behind the back of your head. So gently lift your chin to your chest, curling your elbows forward to lift off your props. Grabbing the thighs if you need to lift away. And just gently and slowly remove the props. Off to the side. And then recline back down really thoughtfully, gently, and carefully onto your back. And let yourself settle and reset there. You might pause with the knees knocking together after you've moved around a little bit, or soles of the feet together, knees open wide. Settle in. And just take a few slow breaths in stillness when you're ready. When you're ready, let's take a twist to rinse out the spine after stretching across the front of the body so much. So just gently bend your knees, soles of the feet on the ground. Arms can open wide as you knock your knees off to the left. Now I like to shimmy my hips a little to the right. I think it makes space for my knees to drop over to the right. You might like that too. Letting the weight of the legs tip over to the left, and if they don't naturally land, you can slide a pillow or a book underneath the outer seam of the legs. Same with the right shoulder. You want it to feel like it's heavy, but if it doesn't naturally land, don't force or press anything. Just allow yourself to soften in. And maybe little by little, as you soften deeper layers into the body, you'll find a tiny bit more space. But no worries if not. Take one more big breath in. Soft breath out. Inhale back to center. And then shimmy the hips a little to the left, knock the knees to the right for your twist. Again, your option to prop up underneath the right knee if you need. To readjust to the arms, legs, and gaze. You know yourself best, so trust, tune in, and then adjust as you need. Keep softening the external layers to go deeper. Relax the face, the chest and belly, the hips. One more breath. As you roll back through center, take a little time to stretch, move if you need. And then set up in your final resting pose, Shavasana. If you'd like to support the head with a pillow, feel free. If you'd like to wrap a blanket over your body, that might be nice. Lying on the floor tends to get a bit cold, hey? You could also put a pillow or two underneath the knees. That's generally a pretty nice way to support the lower back. I'd like to place my palms open and think about rolling my shoulders down my back for a little bit more expansiveness of the chest so the breath can move a little bit more space on its own. And then as you set up in your final resting pose, let your whole body be soft and relaxed. We'll take just a short guided relaxation so you can slip deeper and deeper into this sense of softness. Start by relaxing each toe, all 10 on both feet. Let your toes feel really relaxed. And extend that softness through the soles of the feet. All muscles relaxing there. And then imagine the skin at the top of the feet goes really soft and loose and relaxed. Extend that softness through the ankle joint. All the intricate little muscles and bones of the feet just start to feel heavy and soft and relaxed. Slide that softening across the tops of both shins, letting the lower leg bones feel heavy, and soften the calves, the back of the legs. Slide that feeling of relaxation across the knee joint. The skin on both knees soft, spreading, relaxed. And then up the front of the thighs, like each little muscle fiber gets relaxed, soft. Any tension flooding away with each exhale. And then imagine the big, sturdy bones in the tops of the legs start to just sink down into gravity. The muscles across the outer hips and thighs and the back of the upper leg start to just soften, like the muscle could settle away from the bone down deeper onto the earth. Spread that softness across the front of the hips, the side of the hips, and the back of the hips, your glutes relaxing. So from the waist down, your body is super heavy and relaxed. Every layer melting down into softness. And feel the skin across the belly now. Like it could just soften a little bit more. And then the muscles just underneath relax. And then all the organs just sink into their perfect position. The spine softening down into gravity. And all the little muscles at the edges of the spine, lower back, middle back, upper back, relax. All the muscles of the ribs, collarbones, feeling heavy and relaxed. So your whole torso, from your chest to your hips, sinks into the softness, mirroring how relaxed the legs are. And then imagine the skin across the tops of the shoulders, the collarbones. Relaxing, softening. The shoulder joints feeling heavy and relaxed. Imagine the muscles, the skin on the front of the arms start to feel really soft. And then the muscles at the back of the arm soften too, as the bones of the upper arm get pulled down into heaviness with gravity. The skin on the elbows relaxes, the joints feel loose and at ease. The muscles in the lower arm, forearms, underneath of the forearms, really relaxed, really soft. So you feel even the wrists relax. Hands too. The skin on the palms softens, the fingers curl a tiny bit in naturally as every little muscle fiber in the hands softens, bones sink heavy, skin relaxes. So now from your chest, through your arms, through your torso, through your legs, your whole body is relaxed. Every layer softening as the breath floats in. And more tension subsides as you breathe out, getting more and more relaxed. Spread your awareness now across the front of the neck, the sides of the neck, the skin on the back of the neck. Like everything there could just invite a little bit more softness. Every vertebra of the spine sliding into perfect alignment, spacious and relaxed. The muscles in the throat and the neck and the jaw starting to soften more and more. The muscles in the cheeks, the lips, the tongue, relaxed and soft. The muscles in the eyelids, the forehead, temples. All relax so your face is super soft. The skin spreads gently. The whole head feels heavy. Even the tiny little muscles and skin all wrapping around the back of the head and ears feel soft and heavy. So now every layer of your body is relaxed. And then slip that softness through the outer layers of the mind. Relax any need to think and process. Let the general processes of your mind run in the background as you softly drift, watching the breath float in and out. Imagine each breath in a wave rippling from the crown to the toes and fingers. And each exhale rushes back out like pulling any tension or stress from the arms, the legs, the belly, the heart, the mind, and slide it back out into the space around you to be washed away. Inhaling crown to fingertips and toes. Exhale, releasing into more relaxation, more softness, more ease. Just one more like that, a full rinse of the breath in and a wash of the breath out. Let your whole body be still, heavy, and soft. The movement of the breath just gently shifting within. Stay here for 2 more minutes, just 120 seconds, and I'll let you know when we're done. Drift. Pause here where you are. Start to notice that deep sense of feeling and knowing that comes when you spend some time checking in. Anytime you're feeling a little bit off, a little bit uncertain, pause, tune in, and trust that you will always know what's best for you. And the more time you spend tuning in, the easier it becomes. So let yourself practice anytime you can. Here, take a full body inhale like you're re-energizing from within. Let go of the exhale breath. Stay and rest longer if you'd like, if you've got time. Or if you're ready, gently go ahead and start to move, stretch, wriggle, reawaken. And when you feel ready, give your knees a squeeze in towards your chest. Take a moment wherever you are for gratitude. To acknowledge that you've got this incredible body that you can tune into, your amazing breath, heart, mind. Take a moment to appreciate this vessel that moves you through life, that there's so much sensation and so much happening to feel. Take a moment to appreciate your body, mind, heart, and breath, just as they are. Everything that makes you exactly who you are. One more big, juicy breath in to feel that gratitude expand. And let it go. Bring that gratitude with you as you come back up to a seated position to finish. Any seat that works, and take your time. When you find your way up, hands come together in prayer position in front of your heart. In this Anjali Mudra, signifying the divine offering, it's our moment to appreciate not just ourselves, but the time that we spend here connecting to ourselves, but also that thing that connects us all. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that that space within me of connection and presence is that same exact place in all of you. And in this space, there's really no difference or distance between any of us. So to acknowledge how we're all the same, we say to each other, namaste. Thanks, beautiful yogis, for joining me on our Friday night 5 o'clock yin practice, or if anytime you're watching on the replay. We'll have every Friday night, 5 o'clock for the time being. So please join me as a substitute for your Friday night commute, or view this class anytime you'd like, just a little bit of yin to feel reset and reconnected. Such a pleasure to share with you in our online platform. Make sure you subscribe and join us again soon. Namaste.